Hi, welcome back. Emptiness, session number 3. I hope you've been handling it okay. I hope it's piqued your interest in some way, and that maybe you're getting a sense of things, even if you feel that they're a little bit slippery. That's okay. That's to be expected, really. Let's start with good posture. Close your eyes. Become relaxed in a complete way. If we could distinguish how the thinking mind grips so tightly onto its constructed reality, we could then perhaps release that grip. In many ways, that's what yoga practices are designed to do, to help you to become less anxious, less stressed, less obsessive, less controlling. And as your mind starts to relax, and as you start to breathe better, you release the grip over the body. It starts to soften. Then it's not so tight. It has more freedom. The blood pressure is not so high. All of this is mental, physical, and emotional health. It all comes together. And so much of it is caused by the mind that is so tight. Can you feel that? Is it true? Have a sigh. Remember, all of these ideas, they're just ideas, and they're ideas for you to investigate for yourself. Don't believe anything I say, but be willing to look, to practice, to consider. Okay, let's breathe together. I'll guide you. Breathe in, 1, 2. Breathe out, 1, 2. Breathe in, 1, 2. Breathe out, 1, 2. Breathe in, 1, 2, and hold. Breathe out, 1, 2. Breathe in, 1, 2, and hold. Breathe out, 1, 2. Breathe in, 1, 2, and hold. Breathe out, 1, 2, and hold. Breathe in, 1, 2, and hold. Breathe out, 1, 2, and hold. Breathe in, 1, 2, and hold. Breathe out, 1, 2, and hold. Breathe in a little bit longer, 2, 3. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3. Breathe out, 1, 2, 3. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3. And breathe out, 1, 2, 3. And then relax. Have a deep sigh. Okay, open your eyes. One thing about this little course on emptiness, I'm not going to go into great detail. I'm just guiding you through lightly, and it's up to you to study this, just as I do and as so many others have done. Studying, meditating. Remember, the yoga practices are designed to bring you to these insights naturally through the asana stretching, pranayama in particular, breath work, and of course dhyan, meditation. If you're getting serious about any of this stuff, you need to be meditating every day. I would recommend do a little bit of stretching, then a little bit of breath work, and then a little bit of meditation. If you could do 15-20 minutes a day, wow, build that over a year, and you will understand these ideas much better, simply because your mind has untightened to some degree. Alright, now this session we're going to look at imputed by thought, what some of that might mean. And most of the teachings I'm going to read to you from His Holiness's book, which teaches us so well all of these subjects. How to see yourself as you really are. It's a very important book, and it's something that I really urge you to get and start reading and rereading. Okay, if you like, close your eyes. Here's a meditative reflection. 1. Remember a time when you mistook a reflection of a person in a mirror for an actual person. 2. It appeared to be a person, but was not. 3. Similarly, all persons and things seem to exist from their own side, without depending on causes and conditions, on their parts and on thought, but they do not. 4. In this way, persons and things are like illusions. And then, how seeing this way helps. Seeing people and things as existing like illusions helps reduce unfavorable emotions, because lust, hatred, and so forth stem from our superimposing qualities, good or bad, on phenomena beyond what they actually have. For instance, when we get very angry at someone, we have a strong sense of the wretchedness of that person. But later, when we calm down and look at that same person, we may find our earlier perception laughable. The benefit of insight is that it prevents us from attributing to objects a goodness or badness beyond what is actually there. Now, what this book does is it guides you step by step through all of these understandings. Okay. Noticing how everything depends on thought. In this part here, His Holiness is using a passage from the teachings of Lama Tsongkhapa. A coiled rope's speckled colour and coiled form are similar to those of a snake, and when the rope is perceived in a dim area, the thought arises, this is a snake. As for the rope, at that time, when it is seen to be a snake, the collection and parts of the rope are not even in the slightest way a snake. Therefore, that snake is merely set up by conceptuality. In the same way, when the thought I arises in dependence upon mind and body, nothing within mind and body is in even the slightest way the I. Also, there is not even the slightest something that is a different entity from mind and body that is apprehendable as the I. Consequently, the I is merely set up by conceptuality in dependence upon mind and body. It is not established by way of its own entity. And now, the meaning of being set up by conceptuality. In the beginning, pretty flowers or a wonderful house appear to exist in and of themselves across from consciousness. But in the end, nothing over there is capable of confirming such an existence. Rather, the mind's perception is their source. This is the case for all phenomena. When sought, they cannot be found to exist in their own right, despite appearances to the contrary. They never did, never do, nor ever will exist from their side in their own right. They exist through the power of the mind. Feel your breath. Have a sigh. Okay, now we turn to another fantastic book by Lama Zopa Rinpoche, How Things Exist, Teachings on Emptiness. This book perhaps is a little bit more challenging. It's something that I have reread many times and slowly pieced together an understanding of the ideas. Okay, we're going to talk about the table. If you see a table, what reason do you have to label it table? Normally you see the base and then say, I see a table. In order to see the table, you have to see the base of the table first. By seeing the base, this object that you can put things on top of, you then label, I see the table, and believe in that label. By seeing a particular object and the particular function that it performs, you then label, I see the table. Seeing the base has to come first. This thing that performs the function of supporting things. It is not the table. The thing that performs the function of supporting things is the base to be labeled table. This is one point to meditate on to find out what the table is. since you use this base as a reason to label table, it's not the table. Even from this analysis, you can see that the table and the base to be labeled table are different. They don't exist in the way we normally think they do, which is that this concrete thing itself is a table. Let's just process that. Okay. Another point is that you talk about the parts of a table. When you say the parts of the table, it means the parts of the table are not the table. This top is not the table. This leg is not the table. This leg is not the table. That leg is not the table. And that leg is not the table. Just from the language, you can tell that saying the parts of the table means that they're not the table. Even the whole group of all these parts gathered together is not the table. What is it? It is the base to be labeled table. None of these parts is the table, and even the whole group of all the parts is not the table. Have a sigh. Remember, when we're learning new things or ideas that may seem perplexing based on the way we've been thinking about reality, it might feel a bit jarring. Your mind might feel a bit like a machine that's stuck. And there are ideas in modern science that we can create new pathways in the brain. Well, this is like creating new pathways in your mind. Insights that you didn't understand before, or notice, or see. Well, this may be a new way of looking at everything for you. It may take some learning. And all of these teachings are meant to be studied, reviewed, tested, and meditated upon for years. Let's look at our body. Sit still. Well, you can't sit still. Your body is vibrating. All of the millions and billions of molecules and atoms, subatomic particles, they're all vibrating. There is an arm, another arm, a leg and a leg, a neck and head, a torso. All of these parts, your mind calls it a body. But the forearm is made up of a whole lot of parts. Muscles, bones, skin. But the muscles, bones and skin are made up of a lot of parts. Cells and space between cells. You label this whole structure a body, but this labeled body does not exist inherently of itself. It exists merely dependent upon your mind's constructed labeling. All things exist in this way. Everything that you perceive are a whole lot of things that your mind labels. Your mind labels everything it sees as something. But that thing is a merely constructed concept. And something else of importance. How reliable is your mind? Think about some cameras. Let's say there's a very old digital camera, one of the earliest ones made with quite poor pixelation. And then 5 or 10 years later, a more modern version with much better, more improved pixelation, more definition. And then one made 15, 20 years after that, the most modern, the most recently made and designed camera of incredible detail and distinction. Then we have an infrared camera, and we also could have a black and white camera. Now, if all of these cameras take a photo of something, the image will depend upon the quality of the device. And so your ability to see influences what you see. As we put these ideas together, we see how complex these understandings are. And when we try to apply them in our lives and use these ideas in a positive way, we need to think about them. But first of all, we have to break from ignorance, being blind to these insights. Have a deep sigh.